This decade has been weird. I mean, we had COVID, TikTok became popular, and whatever else. Music, rappers, singers, beefs, peak, trash, everything. It's been very odd. So as you do, I was watching NFR Podcast video on the top 25 songs of the decade so far.
Let's watch some crazy stuff, yo!
Forever with this verse. I think that when we think about Cole's career, when it is all said and done, maybe a year from now, maybe
hey, wait a minute,
20
Rick,
years from now.
I thought this was a commercial.
Music is subjective. However, when I was watching their video, the disagreements I was having in my mind, I was fighting battles, conflicts, wars, and it just made me understand that they are wrong. Some of these picks are just wrong. So I decided to make my own list and added an extra 5 slots because why not? However, I added a rule for this ranking. An artist can only have 3 songs made by them, because there were some artists I was thinking could have maybe even more than 3 songs on the list, which may be crazy, but I don't know. Schoolboy Q, some people will be mad because it's like, what are you doing? Blue Lips was so good, Thank God for Me, Blue Slides, all those songs. And I agree. I won't lie, that's not a single track from that album was just better than any of the songs on this list. I'm not gonna lie to you. Freddie Gibbs, well he is in my honourable mentions, but not including that, you know. Freddie has been on a run this decade. Alfredo, So Separately, and You Only Die Once was pretty good. Not as good as the other two, but still pretty good. Billy Woods, I don't think I need to introduce you to anything about him or why he's worth being on this list, but pretty much any song off Ethiops is valid. Travis Scott, especially because of My Eyes or Sirens or Modern Jam. Otherwise, not really any other song from him would have been on the list. It's just, he just had some good songs that kind of stuck with me. Anyways, number 30. Cody Blue 31. People may have expected this to be even higher, some may have expected it to not even be here, but this song is just so beautiful. It depicts grief, healing, love, family, pain, and I'll say this right now, very few people apart from actual vocalists are able to sing better than Jid as of right now. Obviously, I don't think many rappers or R&B artists could even sing better than the way he was on this track. Black and Blue, Vince Staples. The rock influences, the kind of shaded harmonies and the airy vocals just add so much flavor. I could drop ties in this bitch. If we being real, people would say, hell no. How is this the case? First of all, the instrumental is dystopian, ragey, amazing. And second of all, it blew up and had this whole meme thing with people like putting up their hands like dictators. This was one of the best uses of autotune and vocal distortion in my opinion, maybe even ever. Travel the globe, Hot Wind Blows, Tyler the Creator. This is just peak luxury rap. This is probably Lil Wayne's best showing this decade as well as a feature. So much charisma from the both of them. The instrumental was stunning and luxurious, just like everything else on Call Me If You Get Lost. Right Now, West Side Gun. This is one of the more simple songs on this list stylistically. West Side Gun continues his coke rap, and Jadakiss and Steve God Cook. When I was going through West Side Gun's catalogue, this was the track that stood out. The swallowed keys, the bass line, and the retro feel of the song just creates so much texture within the song. Don't let the lie. Believe What I Say / Life of the Party by Kanye West. Listen, I love both songs, and I know people are going to be crashing out because I'm not putting Life of the Party in the top 30. So I'm going to make them more angry actually. I wasn't thinking of putting it in the honorable mentions at all. I love Andre's bit so much, and Kanye's bit is just slightly too long for it to be in the top 50 even. It is insanely emotionally captivating and beautiful either way. I think Believe What I Say is even better and the best song from Kanye this whole decade. Metamorphosis by Lil Probably no one knows who this is or what this song is. My friend told me to listen to the short album by Lil and I put it off at first, and after finally listening to it, I don't think it was amazing, but some songs were insane, specifically this one. This song is Reezy depicting this romantic relationship with a girl and ties it into self-love and appreciation. The hook is so catchy and one of my favorites of this decade. His lyrical work is amazing. The build-up of the relationship working as a trigger to becoming a better person is just amazing. The vulnerability too, just wonderful. Tell Me, Yeet. This is the song of the time machine whenever we decide to be able to make one, because the gliding synthesizers in the background just sound amazing. The concept of the whole 2093 is perfectly packed into this song, and his predictions of how humans will be overtaken by machines and whatnot. But the reason it's even better is just the atmosphere created with those time shifting sound things in the background, which I'm pretty sure I just pitched up string plugs or something, but either way it sounds amazing.
Chase checks, little homie.
Little Homies, Vince Staples. Vince Staples on a dance beat. I never would have actually. I kind of would have thought he would be on the beat like this, especially after Big Fish Theory. This is my second and sadly final Vince Staples placement. The bounce on the song is just so bouncy. The rapping feels persistent but so casual. The flows and structure within the song are just everything I wanted. The way the bridge transitions into verse 3 is one of the greatest moments. Full stop.
Fuck the big three, nigga, it's just big me.
Like that, Future. I don't know if I need to give this song any introduction. First of all, we're listening to the album and Claustrophobic transitioned into the song after that little, prodigy speech thing. When the beat comes in, it hits hard. The impact of this song for the rest of the year does not need to be reinstated either. It brought the album to be the most bought album of 2024. It made Type Shit become even more popular with that cause and effect thing. Future sounds cold. The quotables from Kendrick. Metro decided he wanted to have a verse for himself. It's just a wonderful, just amazingly hard-hitting track.
Some place to be nobody.
Nobody, Nas. Maybe the only other example apart from Hot Wind Blows where luxurious rap is prevailing. The beat is so smooth, the piano loop is addicting, Nas just cooked. I don't know how to explain it, he just does everything differently to what he did in the past with the KD series. And this is maybe the best example of this. He then decides to get Lauryn Hill involved. Literally the only time she has been seen on the face of the earth musically this decade, apart from when glazing her son on IG. I mean, you should be glazing your child who is pursuing their career, as you should, but damn.
Boys, I'm here for the moral support.
Middle of the Ocean, Drake. Oh my. The beat switch, the rapping is just perfect, chill, old Drake. Maybe not even old, but just chill rapping Drake that we all know and love. If you weren't restricted to rap, I'd probably put Bahamas Promises over this track, but I'm not saying it's the greatest thing of all time, but it's just a really solid track of Drake rapping. Plus that beat switch midway through, as I mentioned before, is just icing on the cake.
100 a G, remember I got front.
Guilt. Boldy James. This airy, drumless instrumental that The Alchemist produced is just perfect for Boldy James style. The mood of the track is depicted in its solemn delivery and that swallowed violin loop and an almost unnoticeable bass line. It's perfectly sounding coke rap with Boldy James elaborating on his career and the guilt he feels now as he's risen far away from his past. There's not a lot much else to say, just a really good track.
Who's that? People in my window.
Jen's Terrific Vacation. Danny Brown. In my opinion, better use of that cell therapy sample that Travis used in 5% Tin. The drums are so dizzying and the experimentation Danny's still able to achieve at this stage in his career is crazy. The play on words in this song title, the unsettling atmosphere that Danny is known for, is just insane as always. The chorus is weirdly always stuck in my mind. I mean, it always just comes up randomly. I'm always thinking of the dun 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 dun. I love the just all over the place nature of the song. It's just an amazing example of a vision with an experimentation and executing it to the best of your ability.
From the treaty signed in Geneva,
Aquamarine, Black Thought. Oh my god. The instrumental is just so... oh my lord. Oh my lord. The chorus is so atmospherically pleasing. Black Thought lyrically is just... I mean, he always is, but he's lyrically just destroying everyone else who's ever spoken a word. Ever. The song perfectly encapsulates his ability of making words just sound really perfect together. The lyrical prowess he presents, the flow, the substance, the roots of hip-hop, pun intended. Like he said his words should be studied in universities. And listen to this. I'm dipped in God black complexion. I mean, if I was to break this down, there are many layers that people aren't actually thinking about. But just the way the sentence sounds is just so scrumptious. Oh my god.
No way.
Stepper Pig, JPEG Mafia. The electronics, almost reaching to funk, but if it sounds like this, then I'm so for it. The way the song just makes me move is amazing. The bass is so... Lyrically, there's nothing here to dissect, but it's just the way they glide over this unorthodox, vibey beat with the usual amazing sample work that Peggy is known for. Euphoria, Kendrick Lamar. So you could place pretty much any other diss track in this placement, specifically Not Like Us or 616 in LA, but this one. Oh wow, this is my second most listened to song of the year. The quotables are objectively endless. The beats go hard. The intro is high-key beautiful. The disses aren't anything scarring, but it was pretty clear after this Drake was not going to win. Kendrick kind of showed the mainstream of the inflections and weird voices he uses, because like people were aware, but now like everyone is aware of how weird this guy is. The way he does everything is so calculated and the song just hits. Always.
from my catalog. Made all this money.
Vinyl Days by Logic. I'm almost kind of annoyed that this song couldn't be in the top 30 for the reason that the violin is gorgeous, the rapping is so just MC-like, the nostalgia within the atmosphere is perfect, plus the sample work by DJ Premier is perfection. I mean, it's DJ Premier, we don't need to be surprised. The song doesn't hesitate to stay as long as it wants to. It has a runtime of 5 minutes, but it wasn't as interesting as a top 30 in my opinion. Not that it's not interesting though.
Lady, 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 lady.
Two Worlds Apart, Little Sims. Oh my, the instrumental is just so pretty. Like the sample usage sounds like so softly gorgeous. The way Sims flows on it is just amazing. It is part of one of the most diabolical 4-song runs of this decade as well. Her rapping is just as smooth as the beat. She says it herself, basking in this feeling, if I must say it's amazing. The way her rapping picks up in the back end of the song just helps everything else. Plus the random part of the sample just hits.
London.
Wait, I don't wanna talk.
Sorry Not Sorry, Tyler the Creator. This is like the rapping of the present that is Tyler the Creator's career up until this point. It feels like he turns over a new leaf with this track, which he fully leans into in Chromacopia. The rapping is perfect, the emotion is perfect, the build-ups are perfect. Lyrically, he just spits absolute facts. As I'm Dante says,
Right there. Right there.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this. It's an amazing add-on to the deluxe of Call Me If You Get Lost. Hazard Duty Pay, JPEG Mafia. JPEG Mafia again. This is like his magnum opus in my eyes, whatever that means. But just the sample is now iconic because of this song. The energy is energetic and fun. The way the song hits is insane. The pettiness, the shit talking, it's just as usual, and it's like the best example of a perfect Peggy track.
I'll never bring again.
All praise is due to Allah, J Electronica. This song is just what a... I don't even know. J and J give thanks to Allah for their blessings. We also mentioned trauma after losing a loved one. The track is deep, but also beautiful in its own right. I haven't listened to J Electronica otherwise, but considering this track, I'm assuming it's pretty good. The instrumental is also kind of lush with these like distant guitars and slow tempos. It's one of the tracks of this decade, 100%.
I hear you went down.
Don't rely on other men, JPEG Mafia. Now the final appearance of Peggy on the list. You could switch this song up with quite a few from I Lay Down My Life For You, or LP, or even Scaring the Hoes, namely either On Off the Drugs or JPEG Ultra New Black History from his recent album. However, this was my most listened to song from that album, and for good reason. It goes so hard. The single version of this song would make this probably the worst song on the album, maybe the worst he's released this whole decade. However, the minor tweaks and the addition to randomly add a whole string section at the back end paid off immensely, because the way the bass hits and the drive within the song and the build at the end is just absolutely, it's just fireworks, and it's insane. It's completely different to what Peggy's done otherwise, and it's just, I love it. Family Ties, Baby Keem. I mean, do I have to say anything about this? People are probably frustrated it's not even in the top 10, never mind the top 30, which is very understandable, but when weighing all the criteria up, I think leaving the song out is crazy. Also, putting it above any of the songs top 30 is probably more of a disservice in my opinion. Plus, it's like enjoyment limit and so on. You know, like the elastic limit and Hook's Law, and after the pass of the elastic limit doesn't turn back to what it used to. Anyways. Meet the Grahams, Kendrick Lamar. The reason Kendrick won the beef, in my opinion, the Alchemist production of the most sinister instrumental of the decade, the most sinister track of the decade as well, the most sinister of all sinisters. Kendrick hits us with the abominable verses attacking Drake with 4 different letters to people in his life, the final being to Drake himself. The accusations are crazy. The time he released this was even more insane. The way the layered vocals hit in the final verse telling Drake he lied feels like he was being hunted. It really showed the levels between them both. I could talk way more about this track, but all I'm gonna add is the number of tracks I wouldn't mind replacing this spot with, which I'll just show you. The reason this and Euphoria were on the list, even though they're both diss tracks, is because I love Euphoria just way too much to not put it on the list. And Meet the Grahams is probably the most important of his run that Kendrick's on as of right now. A few words for the firing squad. Radiation. Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels had such an amazing album in 2021. The best out of their series in my opinion. And to be fair, it gets better each time. I really need RTJ5. The concept of the whole television thing in the album comes to a strong, and I mean strong, outro here. The instrumental is just as amazing as the rest. The outro is so cartoonish but so good. I love the audio recording beforehand, which almost feels like a commentator of a basketball game. It's obviously what each character, Yankee and Braves, New York Yankees and the ATL Braves, represent. The whole middle section building into this insane orchestra sounded insane. The horns as well. The rapping from both of them sounds like the end of the world, but then just not going down without a fight. They tie up the larger societal topics they cover in the album so powerfully here, like the paradox with money and fame, or the real trauma LP has had to overcome, which I won't talk about just for the respect of LP himself, but they're strong topics and executed amazingly.
In the demons and motherfucker you.
Introvert, Little Sims. This grandiose meteor strike of an intro. The orchestration is so well orchestrated. The drums, the choir, the vocals, that everything else is so well made. The instrumental changes within and switches up so artfully. The themes of the album are so insanely well rounded up within the lyrics and the emotion of her delivery. The inner turmoil she feels as a woman, a black one to be specific. The violins right here
Earnest, like they strip you of everything you're deserving. Realize
are one of the sexiest, most angelic things I may have ever heard. And when they're in the background later, it's just mwah, so perfect. Superman That, Injury Reserve. So the second track to the experimental, insane final album from Injury Reserve. First of all, I love the album cover. Second of all, the instrumental is so abstract and probably the best instrumental in this whole list for how just unorthodox and out there it is. Conceptually, it's so deep. Look at the genius annotation for the word you. Like, what? Anyways, the dissociation explored lyrically is amazing. The autotune is perfectly utilized and it hits the unnervingly ghost-like atmosphere of the rest of the album. Plus, I love the kind of humorous comparison and reference of Crank That by Soulja Boy, and how they both primarily use the word you.
Don't trip. See, I was in the wind.
Blue World, Mac Miller. How do I even start talking about this one? This is the third track on Mac Miller's first posthumous album, Circles. It is one of the 2 rap-centric tracks on the whole album. The repeated vocal synth use is just unheard of that I know of, especially in this manner. The song structure is so good. The feel-good vibe of the track is so perfectly executed. The verses are catchy. The chorus is catchy. The simple beat otherwise just adds a rhythm to the song that helps everything else. The little intro of the men who sound like they're from the 1940s singing is just really relaxing. The little inflections at the end of each line at the start of the second verse. Contrast of the song and the next, Good News, which if I wasn't going to do a rap-centered list, would probably be my song of the decade. It's insane considering how devastatingly depressing Good News is and how upbeat and bouncy Blue World is. In essence, it is really simple, but the impact and effect of the song is otherworldly.
Scamming niggas maxing out.
Something to rap about. Freddie Gibbs. I'm so sad to say that this is the only Freddie Gibbs song here. I think the instrumental is really chill, the rapping is peak Freddie Gibbs with a charismatic verse from Tyler as well. He just couldn't hit the top 30, so I apologize. Song's still amazing though. Sister Nem, JID, the second entry of a JID track in this list. The song is one of the biggest showcases of Destin Route's relationship with his family. He details the story of the relationship with his sister and is so emotionally charged throughout. The way he flows through the song complements the little guitar plugs randomly in the first half, as well as that layered vocal sound effect too. Everything is exemplified. You could tell the care that went into this record. Like the James Blake feature was really gorgeous, same with the bridge. After, the midpoint of the song goes through metamorphosis and does this continuous stop and start thing with the beat. It's so perfect. The end has this beautiful violin passage and this reverberating sound thing too. And there was a small Mac Miller soundbite, which was a very cool homage as well.
Still feel it weighing on my heart.
Mother I Sober, Kendrick Lamar. This is, in my opinion, even more emotionally charged than the previous. The piano is just wow. The honesty is wow. The vulnerability is just wow. The song is the climax of the concept within Mr. Morale. The generational trauma, the shattering of Kendrick's savior complex, the forms of therapy, specifically to do with putting yourself in a nature-filled environment, helping each other, religion, self-love, self-forgiveness. She tackles addiction very intimately and in an unnoticeable way. It is so much. The haunting background vocals during the chorus from Beth Givens are heavy. The lyricism throughout is one of the most perfect showcases from Kendrick. The build-up at the end is just like, what? It's so powerful. It's just so powerful. The violin coming in with some string plugs too. One of my favorite uses of an instrument ever. I love string plugs. People should use it more. The ever-empowering delivery of his voice is also insane, and it just drops back into Gibbons' beautiful voice. It's crazy. The different meanings of the chorus after each verse is also just wow. I'm not going to break down the concepts in the song and the song too deeply, but just know it is probably the most powerful track of this decade. Scared, Denzel Curry. Off of Denzel Curry's latest album / mixtape thing, King of the Mischievous South is the pinnacle of going hard. The opening line about even Jesus called a guy out on his Last Supper, I think it deserves its place. The only reason it isn't in the top 30 is because I think the vibes of a few tracks above it are just a bit stronger, but it would probably go in like the 31st place if the list went further.
Sharp shooting off the top of the cliff. If I got
Crack Sandwich, JID. So, since this is the third JID track, it is the last. And I do think it is JID's best track ever, not just this decade. I mean, you could put so many different songs in the spot. Lord 2, Brother Nem, Sister Nem, and this could be switched as well. This was one of my favorites when I first listened to it, the minute it came out. And it's just not changed as one either. The unsettling bass line with that guitar or electric guitar thing throughout. The keys are also amazing. The first 2 verses are setting the scene for the fight scene in the third. The family ties are there. The layered vocals on the chorus too. The way he just effortlessly says everything on this track is diabolical. The number of bars and one-liners are insane as well, like guard flow, I don't walk on the floor, feel the kick, fuck a fair catch, killing me, trying to take a hit. There's this cookie bar, and there's whatever the hell, lo and behold, they held us in a hold itself for 6 or maybe 7 hours just to let us go without a stain. What? The beat has a similar metamorphosis thing as well, where it chills out in the second half and comes back a bit later. The bridge is really catchy. The crack is in this song, and it fits the first half of the album and the family ties in the album perfectly. Knees, Injury Reserve. Another Injury Reserve track in the top 10. I mean, I'll explain why exactly this is number 2 of the whole decade. The background of the single was really powerful but also sad. Not long before its release, Stepper J. Groggs, one of the trio, unfortunately passed away. This song is a remnant of his life and almost a depressive celebration to his life as well. Well, at least that's how I interpret it. But Bystorm also fits that title. Also, I would like to add many other songs from this album, like Outside, Footwork in the Forest Fire, SS San Francisco, and some others could definitely replace the spot neatly. The track has the strong guitar riff and space between ambient sound effects and speedy drum fills alongside it. Near the end, these guitar plucks are also in play and sounds amazing. The build up it creates is wonderful. The outro is warping and fading out of existence, which is what the album cover feels like. The track infuses styles of hip hop with rock and ambient so well that people theorize a whole new genre was being created before our eyes. Do you realize how much skill and creativity and the capability someone has to have to basically forge a new genre in front of us, especially in such a saturated space? Anyways, the chorus is so well sung. It sounds really raw vocally, but feels so deep in the mix at the same time. The verses complement the instrumental with this disorientating spacing between the lyrics, and flow, in my eyes, it just accentuates the alcohol addiction Groggs touches on in his verse, as it is an example of the foregrounding meaning of growing physically in the whole song, but actually portraying inner growth, beating addiction, holding your responsibilities down, and so on. I cannot emphasize how amazing this track is, as just a song of this decade in any genre. Number 1, Walkin', Denzel Curry. In this dirty 50 rotten nasty little... Yeah, I mean, this is expected. This is probably the best example of a simple but perfect hip-hop song. Lyrically, he hits every mark. Basketball references, funny lines, clever bars, switching flows, cold delivery, earning money, cool-ass imagery, social commentary. It's just so good. The replayability is insane. I'll go a step further. The beat switch could be like a resemblance of the transforming into a new person after becoming introspective and seeing your future after melting your eyes and, you know, all that conceptual stuff. The fact is part of this 6-song run is also insane. It literally stops the beat and it goes so hard. I don't care about other artists doing this. The chorus is amazing. The charisma is there as well. The sample uses of The Loving Touch by Keith Manfield. Obviously I didn't know the sample song before Denzel dropped this track, but now this and the original sample are on my playlist. The way it fits onto both beats as well, the boom bap sample, which is like a representation of the roots of hip hop and becomes this fast trap anthem. I don't know what else people want me to say. He raps perfectly on both beats, and all I can add is that originally this song and Crack Sandwich actually switched, so I decided to switch them after because I feel like even though I like Crack Sandwich more, or at least I like to listen to it slightly more, I'd argue Walkin' is more suitable or viable as an answer for number 1. Any of the top 3 can be switched easily though, so that's the list. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I might reply, I might not, I might read them, I might heart them, I might do anything, you know. If you guys disagree, tell me. I'll argue with you in the comments. Okay, I probably will. I think that's a bad image, but you know,